ready for a new and exciting topic? The Real Estate and Mortgage Show is back with your host, Walter Montero. He's a real estate and mortgage agent in Ontario, implements internet marketing strategies, and offers an online course to invest in private mortgages. Let's listen to this fascinating episode. You will surely learn much from this talk.
Hey everybody, it's Walter Montero with the Real Estate and Mortgage Show. We're going to go right to the topic at hand because there are a few things to discuss. I don't want to hold you up any longer than I have to. So point number one to consider when your mortgage renews is, have you explored all your options and had a second opinion for that matter? So when your mortgage comes up for renewal, typically you'll get a letter from your lender stating that your mortgage is coming up for renewal. And a lot of times they have a renewal slip right inside the letter, and you can just go ahead and sign it and send it back to them. Do not do that, because typically those rates that they offer you are typically posted rates. And the scary thing is, I can't remember where I heard this statistic, but I understand that 70% of people sign that and send those back. So that means that you're paying a significantly higher amount on your interest rate than you have to. Okay, so don't do that. Okay, you want to do a couple things. First of all, you want to explore what your options are with the lender that you have. Okay, so ask them for their most competitive, fair rate that they're going to charge you. And then secondly, you're going to want to get a second opinion. All right, you're going to want to talk, in my opinion, you should talk to a mortgage broker. Okay, a mortgage broker I think you should talk to is Karen Montero. At www.mrfinancial.ca. Karen has a whole host of lenders that she deals with, and she can go over your different options with you in terms of helping you exercise how to go about your mortgage renewal. All right, so don't just send in your renewal slip. Make sure you get a second opinion. Okay, point number two is, are you comfortable with the payments that you're making? So one thing that you got to consider is a couple things. If life's been good to you and your job has been good to you and you're making more money now than you've ever had, then perhaps it's time to consider making a higher mortgage payment. Okay, because ultimately I guess the goal is to pay that thing off, right? So if you're making a little bit more money, why not raise the amount of money that you're paying on your mortgage? So in other words, make a heavier amortization. On the other hand, if life has been unfair to you or you've hit a couple of bumps in the road, maybe it's time to reconsider re-amortizing the mortgage, making the payments a little cheaper. So again, that's a point that you have to consider when you're renewing your mortgage. The other thing, of course, is point number three is, do you need cash flow for other things? Okay, as life moves on and our needs change, you may need money to pay for a child's education, or maybe your own education, or maybe you're going to be purchasing a vacation property, or you're going to take a special vacation, you need some extra money. You can do that by considering refinancing your home and drawing out some of the equity out of it. Okay, so that's another point that you want to consider when your mortgage is up for renewal. Point number four is, can you handle fluctuating rates? Obviously, rates right now are very, very low. I believe that our cheapest 5-year money right now is 2.59%. So, really, really cheap money. At the same time, there are still people out there that are using variable rates for their mortgage needs, which is fine as well. Now, one thing you have to consider is, with a variable rate, sometimes the amount of your payment can change given that rates in the future will rise, right? So can you handle those, or do you need to be in a fixed situation? Point number five is, will you be selling soon? Okay, your mortgage is coming up for renewal. The last thing you want to do is lock yourself into a term mortgage, a long-term mortgage, because all that's going to do is put you in a position to have to pay a penalty. Now, some mortgages come with portability features, so you might not have to worry about that. But if you're going to be cashing out of the market completely, then you've got to take into consideration the fact that when you renew your mortgage, you go into an open situation so that you're not faced with penalties on the exit of the mortgage. All right. Point number six is, are you thinking of a major renovation? Maybe are you considering putting in a new kitchen, having some work done, maybe some landscaping, that sort of thing? Maybe a good time to revisit taking some equity out of your property. You may want to do that simply with a mortgage, or you could do it with a line of credit. Okay, so these are things that you have to take into consideration when you're coming up for renewal. Point number seven is, when do you want to be mortgage free? Okay, and I think this is a real popular thing. You've got to consider what your exit strategy is here in terms of when you actually plan to retire. Okay, because the last thing you want to do is retire with a bunch of mortgage debt. So you want to make sure that that is properly addressed, and that your payments now are, helping you achieve that goal of being mortgage free upon your retirement. All right. Point number 8 is, could you use the equity in your home to fulfill your goals? Refinancing your mortgage is obviously a way to free up cash, gives you some money maybe to buy another property, when the occasion arises. So you might want to do that. You might want to buy a cottage or even a boat. So you can certainly take advantage of the equity in your home that you've accumulated over the years. Point number 9 is, have your insurance needs changed? So if your mortgage needs have changed, you've got to take into consideration that you've got to make sure that you have the proper insurance in place in order to cover those mortgage obligations. All right. So make sure that if you're going to take on more debt and maybe there's, some issues with your health, you want to make sure that those are properly addressed so that, in the event that something does happen, the situation doesn't leave, your partner or your family members in a precarious situation. All right. And then the last point is, are you getting the best rates and terms? The one thing today, especially with the interest rate environment that we have, a lot of times banks use rates as the shiny object. And you got to take into consideration that rates are not, it's not all about rate, because sometimes they will slide little gotchas into a mortgage that people don't take into consideration, and you've got to really address those things. The one big thing that really bothers me, and I think they should plain be illegal, is collateral mortgages. A lot of the major banks right now are registering mortgages as collateral mortgages. So basically what they're doing is they're taking control of your equity. And that's all well and good. Nothing changes, and you're able to obtain credit when you need it. But the problem is if you're ever in a situation where your situation changes and you need to get money and your current lending institution won't provide it to you, if they have a collateral mortgage on your property, that basically takes away your ability to take your business somewhere else. Okay, so they've taken away control of your property, and I think that's wrong. And I think that anybody that signs a collateral mortgage needs to be aware that there are changes, and there are other options that you can go and exercise so you don't get held hostage by your bank. Okay, do not become a victim of your bank. You're servicing the debt. Don't let them push you around with collateral mortgages. And that's why I think everybody that has a mortgage coming up for renewal, or even if you don't, talk to a mortgage professional, talk to a mortgage broker, and make sure that you find out all the terms in the mortgage so you don't end up getting sucker punched by these lending institutions. Okay, hope this week's episode was helpful to you. And if you have any questions, please feel free to do so.
You've reached the end of another episode of the Real Estate and Mortgage Show. Connect with us at therealestateandmortgageshow.com. Don't forget to sign up for our newsletter to get instant access to our new updates. See you at the next episode.